Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of the Cerebral Overload video podcast. The number one podcast on earth, too. Even though this is our first episode. That was my crappy segue to the first part of our podcast today, as we're going to get into the whole DC versus Marvel Comics TV series. Now, we all know that Marvel has so far just blown away DC in the movie theaters. But how about the home TV? As of right now, DC has 3 shows on, all on the CW. Well, 2 shows on plus 1 coming up on the CW network. They have Arrow, Flash, and the one coming beginning of next year, Legends of Tomorrow. Marvel has Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I've watched it since the beginning, but between Arrow, Flash, they've blown them out of the water with TV shows. Now, you're going to say, hey, a-hole. Marvel has Daredevil and Jessica Jones on Netflix. Well, we're not going to include that right now because Netflix I consider totally different than a TV series just for the fact that it's on a separate paid service. It's not something you can just turn your TV on and say, hey, let's watch Daredevil tonight. It's Tuesday night at 9. And speaking of Arrow, the mid-season finale threw me for a loop. They make it look like there's a death. Maybe it's a huge character, maybe it's not. The end of the season finale, or the mid-season finale, they make it look like Felicity dies right after Oliver proposes to her. And then the next scene, they show Oliver at a cemetery in front of a gravestone crying, saying that he's going to kill again. There's been theories all over the internet of who dies, whether it's Felicity. There was even one website, I don't remember it off the top of my head, that decided to go through and list all the characters and who was going to die and what their probability of dying was and why they wouldn't die. This site picked Detective Lance as the person that was most likely to die. I want to change that theory in this one they didn't even have on their list. I think it's going to be Arsenal. If you happen to follow him on, I think it's Instagram, the website follows him on. He had pictures while he was there filming with the crew for Arrow. My thought is this. It's either he comes back because Speedy dies, or he comes back and ends up being the one that dies. I don't think Felicity dies at all. It's either going to be Arsenal or Speedy, one of the two. I would hope, for the way the show's going right now, that it ends up being Arsenal just because he's the least used character, because he left after last season. That's my hope, but you never know. And since we got done with the TV part here, let's go on to the Netflix shows, which Marvel rules in with Daredevil and Jessica Jones, and the soon-to-be-released Luke Cage, who was already introduced in Jessica Jones. This year, we had Daredevil and Jessica Jones both being released. I must say, I do like the TV shows being on Netflix as opposed to on like the CW or ABC, like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is, because they can get more graphic, more foul language, and what you wouldn't be able to see on TV till after 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, you can watch whenever you want. And it's nice that they're released because you can sit and watch the whole season beginning to end if you have enough time. The next, season 2 of Daredevil is supposed to be coming out sometime towards the beginning, I want to say April of 2016, which they're going to be releasing, or they're going to include 2 new characters. Sorry, my mind's drawing a blank on the one. Actually, my mind's drawing a blank on both right now. The Punisher is one of them. And in the future show, Luke Cage, Luke's already been introduced on Jessica Jones. So that should make for another interesting, I don't know if you want to call it a sequel or not, but that's what that is. Next topic we're going to go over is the rumors of Apple losing the 3.5mm headset jack. Is it possible? Yeah. Will they do it? Who knows? We'll find out when the iPhone 7 gets released. There's two schools of thought on it. The first is to make the phone any thinner, which every phone manufacturer is trying to do, no matter how easy it is to break in your back pocket, which is a totally different subject. I don't know why people keep their phones in their back pocket. But you're eventually going to have to get rid of that 3.5mm headphone jack, which, if the rumors are true and Apple goes to a lightning cable headphone, makes perfect sense just for the fact that, guess what? You don't need that big headphone jack when you already have a thinner jack there that you can use. And it's also easy and makes Apple more money with doing the 3.5mm to lightning adapter so you can use your old headphones. Me personally, I know the audio quality, they say, isn't as good through Bluetooth as it is through a cable, because you do have some audio quality loss when it compresses it into Bluetooth. And if you're one of the people that likes to listen to FLAC audio, full lossless audio content, I do believe is what it stands for, then you're not going to like this. But for someone like me who has decent quality Bluetooth headphones, as most of my headphones are Bluetooth, I don't have very many. I think I have one set, maybe two, that are wired. It's not a big deal for me because I use Bluetooth all the time. So losing it's not going to be a big deal. But I just read an article on Engadget about why they will not get rid of the headphone jack, and they had some good ideas. The first was that Apple's going to piss off everybody because you're going to have to buy around $30 3.5mm to lightning cable adapter. But if you're spending that kind of money on the Apple phone as it is, I don't think you're going to be in the state that you're going to be pissed off because you have to buy another adapter. And another one was if your car doesn't have Bluetooth to connect your phone for music or driving, once again, you can still buy the adapter to use. FM transmitters still use the headphone jack. A couple of the good ones I thought were the fact that if you want to let your buddy listen to music through the headphones, I don't want my earbuds stuck in somebody else's ear. I don't know how dirty, nasty, and all that. Because maybe you don't clean your ears as good as I do. Because I like cleaning my ears for the O face. When you get those Q-tips in there and you're like, oh, that's the spot. Oh, yes. Yes, there is a G-spot for cleaning your ears. Those who lie and say they've never felt that are lying. Everybody hits the G-spot in your ear while you're cleaning your ears. Yes, I went there. Next topic, since we're moving along quickly today, going to be a nice short episode for you. The Samsung Galaxy S7 rumors are now out. According to the Wall Street Journal, it looks like they're going to, if you want to say, copy the iPhone with a pressure-sensitive screen like the new iPhone already has with 3D touch. Then, okay. And also, it's also rumored to have fast charge, which is going to be the USB Type-C charging instead of your standard micro USB, which means if you switch the S7, you're going to have to go out and buy all new cables because you need the Type-C as opposed to what you're using now. But for the most part, they're saying it's not going to change at all from the S6. But they will be adding the micro SD storage back. I don't think, if I remember correctly, that the S6 had micro USB slot. They got rid of it for the 6. So I'll be glad that's back because I prefer my phones with the micro SD slot so I can buy the smaller phone because I don't want to spend $800 on a cell phone just for extra storage space when I can spend $300 and go out and get a $30 micro SD card and have twice the space I could for $700 for an extra $30. Now that we've announced the pressure-sensitive screen, you can be sure as of right now, Apple's lawyers are trying to figure out how they can sue them because Apple just won one lawsuit against Samsung. Now, I'm sure they're going to go after another because you can't just let us have what we want. Yes, Apple, you had pressure-sensitive screen first. No, Apple, I do not want your phone. It sucks. I've spent my money on my Android games, music, and yes, I understand I can get my Amazon Music onto my iPhone, but I prefer Android. I understand all of you out there that do have your Apple phones, you love them. I don't blame you. It's just not for me. And the Apple people, I'd love to convert you to the dark side with Android, but for the amount of money some people spend on their phones with apps and everything that don't transfer from Apple to Android, even if it is the same game from a manufacturer like Rovio or something like that. It's just the one that pops up in the top of my head. Guess what? You're out all that money and you have to start all over again. Not fun. Next topic we're going to get into here is a little bit of green tech, since I made some people mad on Facebook the other day with a comment on Mark Ruffalo's post. Mark Ruffalo, you're a great actor. Your work to try to save the polar bears, the whole Keep Rhinos Horny campaign that a bunch of famous celebrities are touting right now. Great. Don't want to kill rhinos. I don't know why we want them for tusks when there's nothing special. If you want the keratin out of the tusks, horns, whatever you prefer to call them, eat your fingernails. It's the same thing. Eat your hair. I believe even that's keratin. So you do that because you're going to get the same amount of benefit as eating a rhinoceros horn. None. But Mark shared a picture on his Facebook page the other day of Leonardo DiCaprio, the comment he made in Paris, saying mayors commit to moving to no less than 100% renewable energy. Before I get into my post that made some people upset, let's just talk about moving a town or a city to 100% renewable energy. First off, solar doesn't work at night. But we have battery backups. We can use the battery backups at night. Okay. There's very few reliable battery storage systems out there right now. Yes, Tesla just came out with theirs, and I'd love to have one in my house to go with solar panels so I didn't have to pay Duquesne Light the exorbitant amount of money they want every year for power, especially this time of the year with the Christmas lights on. Because your bill goes through the roof. Here's the problem. Yeah, you can get one or two of the wall battery packs from Tesla to mount in your house, and it powers your house greatly with your solar power. Let's talk about a big city. I'm close to Pittsburgh, so we're just going to use Pittsburgh as an example. How many floors of batteries would you have to have on every single skyscraper just to be able to power the building at night? Not to mention, where are we putting all these solar panels to get all the power to charge the battery packs and power the building during the day? You can't put a windmill on top of every building because they'll kill the birds. That's why. The birdie fly through the fan hits them, they die. Nobody wants the peregrine falcons that are on the top of the Cathedral of Vernon to die because Leonardo DiCaprio thinks we should have 100% renewable power when it's not reliable enough yet. End of that rant. It would be great if we could do it, but you'd have to tear down half a city to put up solar panels and battery backups just to be able to power the other half of the city. And you think prices are expensive now? Imagine paying to tear down half a city, build the solar plant, build the battery backup buildings. Notice I said buildings because it would take multiple. Yes, eventually, in the long run, you would probably save money. Way, way long run, but sorry, I'm not going to buy into the global warming hoax just to make solar power sound better. Now, on to my rant that I had on Facebook. It wasn't really a rant that I had, but I just posed a question to everybody. Did he use 100% clean energy to get there and make this talk, or did he fly there in his private jet? Because we're all going to this climate summit to save the world from man-made global warming. Because man-made global warming is so real. Even though I remember learning in elementary school that people walked from Russia, what is now Russia, to what is now Alaska, via the Bering Sea Strait that was frozen over. The Bering Sea Land Bridge is what we called it. That eventually melted long before the Industrial Revolution, long before coal-fired plants, long before oil-fired plants, long before cars, long before SUVs, long before semis, long before trains, long before any forms of transportation other than your own 2 feet. So yes, is there global warming? Yes, there is. Is it man-made? No. Carbon dioxide. We're putting too much in the air. Guess what? The trees use that for food. Yes, there I said it. The trees use carbon dioxide for food. Suck it in, put out oxygen, what we breathe. Okay, end of the rant again. So that was my comment that I made on his Facebook post, and unfortunately he didn't comment about it. Because I would have loved to have discussed it with him, but some of the comments were funny. This person, Bridget de la Pava, you know, he just lives the life. Mr. Michael Vander Sandy said, yes, let's just trash the people actually doing something. Michael, I'm sorry, but I'm not trashing a person trying to do something when they're making what they say is wrong worse. He flew there in his private jet along with the leaders of 200-some countries, I believe it was. All flew there in their own jets. How does that make the world a better place? Do as I say, not as I do. Next one, Alex Dunnigan says, show me 100% clean energy that won't kill you crossing the Atlantic. Well, take a paddle boat, rowboat, sailboat. Sailboats won't kill you. It might take you a while to get there, but hey, you want to save the environment, right? Let's paddle or use the wind energy. We're real big into wind energy. Let's use the wind to get us over there. Judy Adolf, who I don't think is any relation to Adolf Hitler because that's her last name and it was his first, says, oh, Ben, just love dumping on the shit on people trying to spread a movement of change, huh? And that clean energy to cross the oceans would be? It sure ain't going to happen with your attitude, is it? I'd love to have solar-powered boats, solar-powered jets, but you can't do it. It's not efficient. Ain't going to happen. So, once again, we're back to the whole, let's make it worse to make it better. And Jason McFarland, who has what I think is the best quote, was, he's just showing up for a quick speech and photo op with the global elitists who are pushing the hoax. Jason, I agree with you 100%. In fact, let's click like right now. Click. So, yeah, if you're going to be one of those people who says, hey, we're killing the world, we need green energy, it ain't going to happen right off the bat. I have absolutely no problem with slowly switching to green energy. That's fine with me. I'd love to have the solar panels on my roof. I'd love to have one of Tesla's battery wall stations on the wall in here, just so I can say, hey, Duquesne Light, shove it. I don't need your power anymore. But, unfortunately, it's still too expensive for the normal person like me to just go and say, hey, let's switch over. Because, yes, I've screwed up my credit in the past, and nobody's going to give me a $10,000 credit line for a battery backup system and solar panels. If somebody out there wants to turn me all green, I am more than willing to take your money to put solar panels on my roof. And you want to get Tesla to send me one of their wall battery packs, I'll put it up, no problem. I would love to do it. I want to thank all of you for joining us for the first episode of the Cerebral Overload video podcast. Just a couple things we have coming up here on our site. We got a soon-to-be-released review of the the Motorola Droid Turbo 2. Excellent. The Extreme quadricopter from Swan Security. Quite fun with the HD camera you can fly around. We're going to show some video of the crash that my stepson tried to break it apart on when he flew it as high as he could to see it fly away in a wind gust. And what else do we have for you? We got some more stuff coming up. I just can't remember it off the top of my head. So keep checking out our site, cerebraloverload.com. And I want to thank you for joining us on this first episode. And that's another thing we're going to be reviewing. We will be reviewing the Apptronics SmartNav 5 that's been updated. You go through our site, cerebraloverload.com/reviews. Check all the reviews, including the original SmartNav 5. The new one has an updated user interface and also includes built-in laser and radar detector. The older models, you had to have a separate unit. This has it all built in. So make sure you check us out. Stay tuned. I'm hoping to do this every Monday for you. If you guys want to see me talk about something, leave it on the comments underneath this video. Go to our Facebook page. Leave us a comment there. Tell us what you want us to talk about. And we'll see what we can do. And hopefully one of these next few weeks, we'll be able to get Ty before he goes in for heart surgery, or Andrew, or Nate to join us also.